Hello everyone, welcome back. So today I have just a short amount of time, but I just wanted to show you how simple it is to just throw things together, and maybe it's going to take me 20 so minutes to be able to do this, hopefully. Cross my fingers, but I just like to make things as easy and fast as possible because I don't have much time, and also I like to just use up everything that I've bought. So I've already have my roasted veggies that I'd made earlier, and I showed that in an earlier video, which is probably why you see like me wearing the same thing, and that's okay because you know what? We're just gonna kill these videos out and just show people that, you know what? People that you see on the internet, they're normal individuals. They're not anyone special in the sense of like, they don't have a million, at least maybe some of us. We don't have all that time in the world to be, content creating, but we try because we want to help other people. So one of my hacks is definitely using scissors because I just like to have it quick and easy. So that way I'm not spending time. I mean, I guess I could just rip this up if I want to instead of chopping, but I'm just using it that way because that's just how I prefer it. So I'm gonna go wash these and I'll be right back. So what I just chopped up was basically kale, and I stuck it into a bowl. And now I am chopping up my leftover collard greens, which was pretty little, unfortunately. I love collard greens. And I'm gonna saute these because I don't particularly like raw collard greens unless I've like stuffed it with something. Then I could be okay with it. So I'm gonna toss it in my pan, and I'm gonna do it the way I normally would if I wasn't on, well, I should say, rather than what you normally see people do, it's like they make everything really pretty. So I use water to basically heat it up, and then I'm just gonna toss my collard greens, cut it, because this is just the way I do things in my hat. Apologize, you guys are seeing all the cars in the background. Yes, I live right by a street, but anywho, so basically I just cut these into strips, or you can just kind of zigzag your cuts however you want. I just basically chop them up and do this, and then later I'll season it when I make my sauce. So I don't put a lot of salt or anything on my meal or my food, mainly because I feel like it's gonna be saturated in sauce anyways, so why add a million one things? However, if you want to add a little bit of salt, you could, just to pull out some flavorings if you want. So it is up to you. There's nothing wrong with that. I just personally feel like it's a little much when you're going to be making the sauce. And I'm going to basically make a sauce out of my leftover refried beans that I had the other day, and I'm going to toss it into the blender with a little bit of almond milk, and then I'll add some seasonings. I know that doesn't sound great, but I find that I like it that way, and then I can add like lemon juice to it to bring out the flavors in there that I want. And at least this way you can kind of make it your own without adding too much, but you can still get like the refried bean flavor, which I personally like refried beans. So that's just me though. That's what I personally like. So yeah, and once this wilts down, I'm gonna toss it in with my kale. Sometimes it's good to actually cook your kale too and add some lemon, and that's where it comes, like that lemon comes in, is because the lemon juice helps you or your body digest it better, and you want to do that for your dark greens and stuff. I personally like doing it that way. I just toss everything into a bowl. Sometimes my bowl gets a little bit big because I eat a lot for my meals, because I don't eat often. So if I do, I just like to make sure that I'm able to just kind of, put everything together. I'm feeling like I'm gonna put some cilantro in with my refried beans when I make my sauce. So I'm gonna chop up some of this and start putting it into the blender. So I'm gonna grab my blender and start putting the sauce together to make it pretty easy. So I'm gonna go wash this, but one of the things I like to do is just do as much of the natural stuff as you can, and don't try to, be dependent on like sauces or anything like that, because then it won't teach you to grow and make it yourself. So I tend to experiment a lot in the kitchen when it comes to my sauces, because that's just me. I personally like to experiment, and I always like to try to invest in what I already have without having to, you know, feel like I'm dependent on someone else making my sauces for me. And plus they're really expensive. This is just something that you can try to incorporate, but right now, because we're doing more plant-based, this is where we are. And yes, we can still have a little bit of those. We're just kind of limiting it because obviously it tends to have a lot of sodium and sugar in them. So I'm gonna wash this and be right back. All right, so it looks like that. We have our kale and collard greens just about wilted. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this off of here and just toss it into my bowl. So that way it is already done, and basically I'm just gonna make my beautiful sauce here to go over it and call it a day on these greens. Next, I'm going to basically use the same pan, and I don't know about you guys, but I'm a big fan of not having a lot of dishes. I just try to basically use the same thing, and if it's just me, I'm not about to get fancy, guys. I'm not about to get fancy. So I'm just gonna use a tiny bit of olive oil, and then by tiny, I mean a real tiny amount. Like, yeah, I think that should be good. Yeah. Okay, so it looks like it's almost probably the size of my thumb on there. And I'm just gonna move it about because I'm going to be putting the mushrooms in there. And I set it aside because I don't want it to burn. But I have my mushrooms here, and these are oyster mushrooms. And I'm gonna just go ahead and get this washed up, and then I'm gonna toss it in there just like that and let it cook off, and add some salt to it and let it cook all the way through. I love mushrooms. Maybe this is just me, but I'm a big fan of mushrooms. I could eat mushrooms all the time because they're so delicious. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and wash these and be right back. Okay, so now that I've got these done, I'm just gonna toss them in and let these babies cook. So I'm gonna show you guys what that looks like over here, so you're not like, what is that? So here we have it. The mushrooms, they're just, I mean, it's very little oil, because the thing is, mushrooms have a lot of water, and so they're going to release a lot of water in there. So I don't put a lot of oil in there. So I'm just gonna correct this a little bit because it's going crazy. But anyway, so yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and cut this cilantro so it doesn't get trapped around my blade when I blend it into my sauce. And I'm going to be making that sauce to go with my refried beans. So I'm just basically chopping it up. And these are like my food scissors. I do compartmentalize all of my scissors. I have scissors to cut for like objects. I have scissors specifically for food because I don't like mixing it. I don't know if people care, but I'm one of those people that do. And then once I get this all chopped up, then I will put in my refried beans, my seasonings, but I'm still not certain what I want to do because I'm literally just kind of playing it by ear. And this is literally what it's like for me almost all the time, is I just do what I think makes sense, and not every person or family is going to do them the same, and that's okay. You don't have to. The thing is, your goal should be just providing healthy meals for your family as much as you can. And I think that's the most important thing. You know, you just have to figure out what your budget is, what you can and can't do, and figure out how you're going to establish, you know, the meals that you're putting together. So these were from last week, so I'm going to chop this up. Not chop it up, squeeze it, and then I'm gonna put it on in here, and in my bowl. I know it's gonna be like excessive lemon, but I'm a big lemon fan. I love lemons. I'm trying to use a lot more of it in my meals. I'm gonna squeeze some in here. Ooh, nice. And personally, I know it sounds crazy and some people may not like the idea of it, but I actually don't mind the seeds because I feel like seeds have a lot of nutrients in them and would be really healthy for the body. So if like a few little seeds getting in there doesn't bother me. And I squeeze a little bit on here too, just because I really love lemon. So it'll be flavored pretty well. And then I'm gonna add my mushrooms to this and let this kind of grill out all the excess water. And then once it's done, I basically just blend everything up and we'll see how that turns out. It could be a great thing or a bad thing, but hey, I'm just gonna be honest on here. All right, so here I am just getting ready to blend this up. I'm going to add just a little bit of onion powder. I'm gonna add a little bit of my unsweetened almond milk to this. We already added some lemon to this and a little tiny bit of salt to that as well. And then we're gonna blend it. And that sauce looks so good. It's creamy and it smells amazing. So I'm hoping that it has the flavor that I'm looking for to basically dress up. Oh, guys, this is amazing. That sauce is so creamy. It's fantastic. And since, yes, this is for me, absolutely. I know that every home has had it where you basically lick your spoon and it's worth it. So this is how simple it is to just kind of experiment and add what you want with and change something else. So it does, I mean, it definitely does not look like refried beans, let's put it that way. It looks like a nice creamy dressing and literally made out of refried beans. Guys, it's so good. Well guys, the last few things to do left is basically toss anything else that I want in there. So I am going to be putting some tomatoes in here, 1 cucumber. So I'm gonna wash these, bring it back, and then add a couple of sprouts, and we're going to see how this dish looks. Here we go, chopping it up. And I just like to do half moons for mine. Personally, I think it just depends on how people like to eat their, I don't think there's any particular way, you know, you have to cut it. Personally, I just toss everything in there. I cut it however, because at the end of it, it's just going through your body. And as long as you chew your food properly, it's still gonna go down the same chute, guys. So I don't care too much. I just want to make sure that it's chopped up enough for me to like chew it and I'm not having, you know, it's not a choking hazard, let's put it that way. Another really good thing to consider when you're making like salads and stuff is if you want a lot of flavor, think of foods that have it already that you can toss in there. You know, tomatoes are really flavorful. You can think about putting like pickles in there because they're salty. You can put in olives because they're salty. Those are a really good option. So I already grilled up the mushrooms, and yes, they wilted quite a bit. And so they're very much done, or I would say a bit done. So I'm gonna just push the camera in just a little bit more so you guys can kind of see it. Okay, so just getting close to that final part of it, tossing everything in to the salad, and now we're gonna add our dressing to this Actually, no, I forgot the alfalfa. So let me go get the alfalfa sprouts. These are amazing. I just love alfalfa. And you know, it's funny, I haven't had as much of these alfalfas as I should be because they're super, super healthy. The sauce. So we can get, so I just like pouring it right in there. And it's just a nice cilantro dressing. And then we just mix it all up, and that's it. And now, time to just mix it. Get all those flavors all in there. You know, I think it's important to like what you're eating, but also like how your food looks to you, because then it makes it more appetizing for you to eat and more likely to eat it. So basically, this is how I just toss a lot of things together and I get a lot of my nutrients. Now you can toss in some nuts in here if you want. If you want to add in, you know, nutritional yeast, you can do that too. So this is a good time to like just toss whatever other things that you would want to, but I'm just gonna eat it like this because I've got to eat and run. So does it taste really good? Let's see. Taste test. I love the taste test part. Okay, let's see. But I got a lot of collard greens there. Hold on, let me see if I could stab it with something else. Okay. That is cilantro dressing. It's so good. You would not know that it was with refried beans, but it is so delicious. So get creative in the kitchen. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me in the kitchen, and I hope this encourages you guys to continue eating healthy and living the best life. And with that said, may you live, thrive, and be healthy. Take care, guys. Bye.